Welcome back to the shop. We're going to work on some things today different from what you've seen today. What we're going to talk about is a commonly known problem known as tennis elbow. Through my years of carving and through a lot of helpful advice from doctors and chiropractors and physical therapies, I've been through the network of things. I've had this so bad I couldn't even pick up a cup of coffee, and my arm would constantly freeze, and it made life really difficult when you have to do any kind of physical labor all the time. I'm going to show you some exercises that I have had to work on strengthening and toning muscle. So that's what we're going to do today, and I hope it helps. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. So these are things that I have done to help me, and hopefully they can help you, because these are things that anybody can do. If you can lift and hold a saw, if you can move logs around, if you can lift logs, these are things that we can all do. And you know, to some extent, some people have limits with some of the leg stuff, but you can still do the arm strengthening. You can still, you can still stretch. There's a lot of things that you can do to help make things easier on yourself. So I call it isolation. What it is you're doing these exercises. If you do 5 a week for, if you spend 10 minutes a week doing this, eventually your body's going to crave it, because you're pumping oxygen into your muscles. You're getting your heart rate up a little bit. It's something different from what we do, but it's still kind of in that same realm. So let's get started. So what is it that we're talking about here? What do we want to do? What do we want to work on and accomplish? For some of the exercises, I would say non-restrictive clothing is best. This is why I change for it. This is why I like to be kind of workout comfortable. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on some exercises here with the arms. This muscle, the way that your muscles are laid out in your arm is kind of on a spiral, right? So if you think of it that way, when you're carving, you're binding all that up, right? The worst tennis elbow I've had is actually in this arm, and it was from running a hedge trimmer. It took me 2 years to get rid of this. This one, I get it every now and then. It'll last for a few months, a year. I don't use any pain meds. This is all exercise stuff that I've done. It's gotten rid of it. What you want to do is work on balance first. Your body needs balance. Your arms hurt because you're not in balance, right? If you see there in the camera, my feet are together, right? I'm just going to lift slowly. Do 5 of these a week. Do 5 of these a day. Do 100 a day. Do whatever your body feels like it wants to do for you. Me personally, I might do 15 to 30 a day for 2 to 3 days a week. Now, when you're lifting and you're doing this constantly, right now I've passed the limit of 5. I'm really feeling that muscle on my forearms start to burn. That is typically, that's the muscle that hurts the most, right here, right? I'm really working that muscle. That's what you feel when you get the tennis elbow. Now the other great thing about that exercise, I've had weak shoulders all my life, right? I've been doing this exercise on and off probably for 5 years, and I have noticed a huge change in my shoulders and the pain that I have and my ability. When I started this exercise 5 years ago, I could not take a 12-pound weight and do that. You're finding areas that you're weak in, right? And this, believe it or not, this is a carving related movement. We do this a lot. When we're carving, we do that kind of where you're straining this, you're straining this, you're straining here, you're working this. You're doing all those things together as you're moving that saw around and flipping it and turning it sideways and you know, and you're bending your knees and getting down there, and you are working all these muscle groups. So you want to tone these muscle groups. So that's one exercise. The next exercise that I like to do, you hold them off to the side, you push your chest out. Now all that's doing is that's working a little bit here, it's working a lot here, and it's helping in this whole area. Simple as possible. I like that lift thing because it strains here more than anything, which is different. You know, it's in isolation. Now I'm working this. If you hold them straight out and you go back, and then you come back together, and you go back, and then you come back together, and then you go back, and then you come back together, right? Now what you're doing there, now you're starting to work here, and you're working this group, right? You're starting to work these things together. So you can do these two, right? This is another, it's another way of working these muscles. This is just one way to help you. The one that I do the most, that I like to do the most, my body craves it. My body tells me, yeah, go do some of those. This is my favorite one. I do this pretty much every day. I might do it 3 times a day. I might do it 10 times a day. Why do I like this one the most? Because it gets my heart going the fastest. It gets my blood flowing. When you get oxygen to those muscles, that helps a lot. So, on to the next one. This next exercise, you want a nice height. This is bench height. You know, if you make benches or you have a bench around, there we're about 19 and a half, 20 inches off the ground. Okay, so I'm just gonna go up here and flatten out as best I can, right? You can bend a little bit, but what you're doing here, it's a reverse type of push-up. What this is doing is this is working my triceps, it's working my shoulders, and it's working, now it's starting to touch base with my core. So here's the other thing that I do with this exercise. Move this over a little so you can see better. Now I'm gonna start working. I've just worked this out a little bit, so now I want to work this out more, and I want to move to a different muscle group while I'm still working up here, because this is our primary. You know, we use our arms a lot. So right? So how is that going to help? What we're dealing with this overall, there's a muscle in here called the psoas muscle. It comes up and connects to your spine. It comes up around your gut. If you have a lot of stomach aches, if you have leg cramps, if you have hip pain, if you have lower back pain, I have really bad sciatic pain. I have like that they call it degenerative disc disease. It's where your spine is crooked. It starts to slip. I've dealt with a lot of pain in my life. The idea here, it's to tone these muscles. So if this stuff really hurts, don't do it. Go see your doctor, ask him about it. Okay? These are just things that I've figured out, do them in the shop. I feel great right now because, you know, I got those triceps worked out a lot, which I use a lot. We use those a lot when we're carving. If you strengthen up here, that's going to give this break, believe it or not. If you strengthen your shoulders, right, that's going to give all this a break because you're holding the weight. If you strengthen here, right, that's going to give more support, so you're not fighting the balance. A lot of this tendonitis in here is because we're weak, because we're fighting to balance, right? If I lift the leg, right, how long can I stay like this? I could probably stay like this a really long time. Why? Because I've practiced. I have built up to this. Just try standing there, lift the leg, right? Now, push the leg out, right? What do you do? Where do you feel strain? Right here? A lot, right? Okay, so what are we talking about in general here? In general, we're talking about balance. We're talking about toning muscles. These are all simple things. If you can hold the saw, if you can lift the logs, if you can do all these things, then you can do these exercises. Feet together, hold one leg out. How long can you do that for? Just standing there. Feet together, hold one leg out. Right? My leg's not touching the floor. Okay, so there's that one. Feet together, hold one leg out. And I go down. Right? Feet together, hold one leg out. This is working on balance. This is straining here. This is another simple thing that you can do in your carving pit, right? You can stand like this. I didn't touch the floor. I went from here to here. I didn't touch the floor, right? I'm still up in the air. Even as I lift higher, I'm stretching here, right? Same thing here. I'll lift this guy, and I'll lift. Now I'm stretching here. These are muscles that we use when we're carving. When you're down here, you're using these muscles a lot. If you work these muscles and stretch them in different ways, 1, maybe 2 times a day, I guarantee you it's going to help your carving. Here's another technique that's going to help you work on your core and some in here and a little bit. And here, these are the core muscles. It's kind of like a big V, a big Y that extends to our arms. So the more we strengthen in this area, right, the more we're going to help this, the more we're going to help wrist problems. So it's yoga mat time. I know a lot of people are going to say, what do you need a yoga mat for? Well, here in my shop, the floor is cold, it's dirty, it's dusty, so I put down the yoga mat. We're going to work on simple core strengthening. This is a technique called planking. To plank, you want to be on your elbows, right? Now, you get up on your toes and push your back flat, right? This is planking. This is all you really need to do to work those core muscles, right? Right in here. You're really going to feel it. Now, this is perfect exercise if you get a lot of stomach aches, if you get a lot of stomach pain, abdominal pain. This is a great exercise for you. Doctors have told me, chiropractors have told me numerous times, a lot of my pain in here that I think is stomach or intestinal problems is it's weak core. Isolation's about working those muscles around things, around areas that you think you might have a problem. So this simple thing, if you do this 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's almost an hour, right? And what that's going to do, you're going to start to feel it if you stay here for a while. I usually plank probably for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes at a time. Okay, and you can just go straight, or you can find exercises to do while you're planking, right? Start lifting your leg. I feel muscle groups working, right? Now I feel my heart rate going up, right? This is the climber plank. This one is the tough one, right? Now I'm climbing. This is a simple thing that you can do. It's really going to work out your back and your abdominals, right? Even this one, the side step, right? And you can combine them. Side step, climb, side step, in, side step, climb, side step, in. Now you have some exercises you can work on. These 3 simple things, you can add variation in, as you saw that I did. With each one, you can throw variation in. Do what feels good. Do what feels right. I'm not saying these are a cure, but I gotta tell you, man, they've helped me over the years. Because there is things that you can do every day to make your body happier, right? And it's not that hard. It doesn't take a lot. Have a good one.